This is the sixth chapter of History, Bhakti and Sufi traditions. And in this video, we will discuss three topics: the Virashaiva tradition in Karnataka, religious ferment in North India, new strands in the fabric of Islam traditions. So let us start with the first topic, the Virashaiva tradition in Karnataka. The 12th century witnessed the emergence of a new movement in Karnataka led by a Brahman named Vasavana, who was initially a Jain and a minister in the court of a Chalukya king. His followers were known as Virashaivas or Lingayats. Lingayats continued to be an important community in the region to date. They worship Shiva in his manifestation as a linga, and men usually wear a small linga in a silver case on a loop strung over the left shoulder. Lingayats believe that on death of the on death the devotee will be united with Shiva and will not return to this world. Therefore, they do not practice funerary rites such as cremation. They ceremonially bury their dead. The Lingayats challenge the idea of caste and the pollution attributed to certain groups by Brahmins. The Lingayats also encouraged certain practices disapproved in the Dharmashastra, such as post puberty marriage and the remarriages of widows. Our next topic is religious ferment in North India. During the same time in North India, deities such as Vishnu and Shiva were worshipped in temples often built with the support of rulers. Some historians point out that in North India, this was the period when several Rajput states emerged. In most of these states, Brahmins occupied position of importance, performing a range of secular and ritual functions. There seems to have been little or no attempt to challenge their position directly. At the same time, other religious leaders who did not function within the orthodox Brahminical framework were gained ground. These included the Naths, Jogis, and Siddhas. Many of them came from artisanal groups, including weavers, who were becoming increasingly important with the development of organized craft production. Many of these new religious leaders questioned the authority of the Vedas and expressed themselves in languages spoken by ordinary people. However, in spite of their popularity, these religious leaders were not in a position to win the support of the ruling elites. A new element in this situation was the coming of the Turks, which culminated in the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate. This undermined the power of many of the Rajput states and the Brahmins who were associated with these kingdoms. This was accompanied by marked changes in the realm of culture and religion. The coming of the Sufis was a significant part of these developments. Sorry. Our next topic is new strands in the fabric of Islamic tradition. Arab merchants frequented ports along the western coast in the first millennium CE, while Central Asian peoples settled in the northwestern parts of the subcontinent during the same period. From the 7th century, with the advent of Islam, these religions became part of what is often termed the Islamic world. In 711 CE, an Arab general named Muhammad Qasim conquered Sindh, which became part of the Caliph's domain. Later, the Turks and Afghans established the Delhi Sultanate. This was followed by the formation of sultanate in the Deccan and other parts of the subcontinent. Islam was an acknowledged religion of rulers in several areas. This continued with the establishment of the Mughal Empire in the 16th century as well as in many of the regional states that emerged in the 18th century. Muslim rulers were to be guided by the ulema who were expected to ensure that they ruled according to the Sharia. The category of the zimmi, meaning protected, developed for people who followed revealed scriptures such as the Jews and Christians and lived under Muslim rulership. They paid a tax called jizya and gained the right to be protected by Muslims. In India, this status was extended to Hindus as well. Rulers such as the Mughals came to regard themselves as emperors of not just Muslims but of all people. In effect, rulers often adopted a fairly flexible policy towards their subjects. For instance, several rulers gave land endowments and general tax exemptions to Hindus, Jaina, Zoroastrians, Christians, and Jewish religious institutions, and also expressed respect and devotion towards non Muslim religious leaders. All those who adopted Islam accepted in principles the five pillars of the faith, that there is one God, Allah, and Prophet Muhammad is his messenger, Shahada, offering prayers 5 times a day, namaz or salat, giving alms, zakat, fasting during the month of Ramzan, Sawn, and performing the pilgrimage to Mecca, Hajj. Arab Muslim traders who settled along the Malabar coast adopted the local language Malayalam. They also adopted local customs such as matrilineal and matrilocal residence. The complex blend of a universal faith with local traditions is perhaps best exemplified in the architecture of mosques. There are several features that show variations such as roofs and building materials. Historians who have studied Sanskrit texts and inscriptions dating between the 8th and 14th centuries point out that the term Musalman or Muslim was virtually never used. Instead, people were occasionally identified in terms of the region from which they came. So, the Turkish rulers were designated as Turaska, Tajika were people from Tajikistan, and Parashika were people from Persia. Sometimes terms used for other people were applied to the new migrants. For instance, the Turks and Afghans were referred to as Shakas and Yavanas. More general term for these migrants communities were Blecha, indicating that they did not observe the norms of caste society and spoke languages that were not derived from Sanskrit. Such terms sometimes had a derogatory connotation, but they rarely denoted a distinct religious community of Muslims in opposition to Hindus. For today, this much. Thank you.